Literally does. People went, she's asking, she's got old or something. Still feel like my last 12.
Yeah, my mum asked me that last week. Was it no?
I feel well bad on my little sister because we were meant to go for like to do something this afternoon for hospital.
Yeah.
But she can't. She's having a panic attack and she won't come into college. She goes to work.
She won't.
Bully, to be fair.
Oh mate, just I'm going live on YouTube Live, so just be conscious
I
of
won't
the.
do that. Nah, but she don't care, I think.
Okay.
Nah. I'm the only person, no, me and my brother, I'm the only one who's going to laugh. I'm my brother's girlfriend.
It's Ollie. Hello, Ollie. How you doing, mates? You're on your other account again. What is it? XT? What are you, Genius? What's your YouTube name, Ollie? Help me out, mate.
Oh, Legend.
Legend XT, of course. How could I forget? I'm sorry I forgot, Ollie. Hello. Good to see you, mate. Legend XT. What a lad. Okay. I'm going to attach a time mic as well. I don't need a time mic, I don't really. Ollie, there he is. Decent. I'm on my main account and I've renamed it LOL. I've never written LOL ever before in my life. Ollie. Never. Really?
Yeah.
Did you actually laugh out loud when you did a LOL? No? Don't do it then.
LMAO. No, it's just
LMAO, like my
Arsenal. Yeah.
on YouTube Live. I can't say that A word. All right, let's put it on Twitter, shall we? See if we can get as many people watch as possible. Why not?
Sure.
Yes. It's on the classroom as well. You can see the live link there as well if you want to watch yourself doing work. If that's up to you. Harvey, hello, hello, haha, says Ollie. Hello. Okay. So just so you know, we've got Jazz here. We've got Ethan and Ross over here, and we've got Charity over here as well. So the rest of the class are going to be working remotely for this in what is a test, I suppose, using YouTube Live. It's a workshop session from 9 till 10, and many of our second years are at a stage whereby they are working remotely, using software at home, using other resources or filming out on location for their final major project, or rehearsing for their genre podcast assignments, or looking into their film production piece assignments. This is a workshop for people to drop into. Alternatively, they can log into it and comment on the right-hand side as Ollie, aka XT Genius. What's his? I've forgotten it again, Ollie. Sorry, Legend. Sorry, Legend. And Zelda reference. Right, I get it now. Okay, and Harvey. Hello, mate. So the guys have registered in remotely, essentially, Ollie and Harvey. So that's good that you are in. Wonderful. Some people will be coming in physically to the lesson, like Craig. Otherwise, they're going to be working remotely for the first hour or so, and then coming in for the actual physical traditional lesson at 11:30 today. So this is a workshop session, and this is a test using YouTube Live to enable people to be able to ask questions about their current assignments. Now, there are 3 people watching, but only 2 people commenting. Who's the third person then? Reveal yourself. 4 people watching. Ooh. Blowing up. Let's get on this Twitter. So I'm going to tweet the link as well. So if you want to ask any questions to our media students, they'll be happy to answer, I'm sure. Okay. Okay, so Harvey and Ollie, what I would like you to do is hello, Kieran. Hello, and Zara. Zara Danielle. Hello. They laughed at your surname then. Zara, that was rude. I think your surname is lovely. Clute or Clout? Answer, please, Zara. Let us know the right pronunciation. Don't allow these people to mangle your family's heritage. Right, lovely. Ollie, Harvey, Zara, and Kieran, could you please state for me what you're going to be working on this morning? Are you going to be working on the genre podcast or Unit 6 Learning Outcome 4? Or are you going to be working on the film production piece between 9 and 10? Okay, so let me know. Please state your objective for me in the comments on the right-hand side. It's Clute. Clarify, Zara. Okay, just so you know that, all right?
Oh, I didn't know that, sorry.
Well, you know now, all right? So if you can state for me, please, what you're going to be working on from 9 till 10 today, that'd be fantastic. And I'll be here to answer any questions remotely about what it is you need. So what I will also do, Zara, is I will go through the film production piece assignment with yourself and with Ross, who's actually here as well. So we can go through it together. And that way other people who want to watch it here can actually get some revision on it and actually some reiteration as to what the expectations are. Okay? So to clarify, state your objective, please, on the chat on the right-hand side. Ollie, Harvey, Zara, Kieran. Genre podcast, film production piece, FMP. Harvey says, probably make a rough start on the production piece. Lovely. I'll be going through what the actual production piece entails again in about 5 minutes or so, Harvey. So I'll be going through that here so you can listen in and listen out to that as well. So I'll be going through it with Ross, who will physically be here, and Zara, who's working remotely, and Jazz, who's also in the chat, although she's here as well. Okay, lovely. Thank you, Harvey. How about the rest of you? What objective are you setting? Oh, George Henley's in the game. Only just worked out how to comment on the YouTube app. Ha ha ha. Hello, George. Okay, let's tweet the link, shall we? Let's get some other people outside the classroom joining in as well. Why not? It's a test after all. Okay. So YouTube live test and tweeting out the link with second year media students. So for those people just coming into the link, you will see that this is a workshop session for second year creative media students who are in the last 8 weeks or so of their qualification and are between 9 and 10 choosing either to work here in the actual classroom using the software and the Macs, or they are working remotely using YouTube Live to comment on the actual vlog, as it were, that I'm providing, and to ask any questions pertaining to their 2 current assignments, which are the genre podcast and the film production piece. Shortly, I'll be going through the actual expectations for the film production piece with both Ross, who's here, and Zara, who's working remotely. YouTube Live test with second year media students. Let's see how many viewers we can get on this as a test. Okay, that's been tweeted out as well. So let's have a look at the comments. Anybody else commented? Zara's doing film studies, lovely. The Prezi is available for you in Google Classroom. I'll also reshare it here as well. Ollie, I think me, Harvey, and Kieran need to get together to do our podcast. So I reckon either FMP or the production piece. Okay, and you can use Google Drive and collaborate on your genre podcast script remotely now, fellas, and then come in to record it together later on today if you wanted. Up to you entirely, that's fine. So FMP or production piece, that's fine, Ollie. George, going to work on film studies, lovely, using the lesson last week, George, so you know what it is you're doing, mate. Kieran, production piece, lovely. So 2 films from 2 different decades, comparing and contrasting the ways they've been produced in terms of finances, in terms of culture at the time, things we learn about, Kieran, you know this. Ollie, are you clocked in? Yes, you are, mate. I will do the register in just a moment manually. This is all new, of course. George, I'll be in college in like 2 minutes. Fair enough. Ollie signed in. I know what you meant, Ollie Williams. I'm trendy. I know the lingo you guys use, like LM, AO, and clocked in, and LOL. Speak the lingo, mate. Let's have a look. So I'm going to go to register now, and you'll see I'm going to literally do that now. So I assure you, Ollie, you are in. So this is a test. For anybody who's watching this, decent, good, bad. It's a test to see whether YouTube Live is a useful tool for students working remotely during workshop sessions, because many of our students actually got software at home and work remotely in workshop sessions better than they do actually in the classroom. And there are some lessons where you need to physically be here for the lecture, for the one-to-one, for the mentoring and so on. But instances like this at the end of the academic year where we've got students who need to work remotely, this is quite a useful way for people to work around their lives, I suppose, in a more sort of appropriate manner. The guys don't need to be here between 9 and 10 because it's a workshop session. They've clocked in, registered in, and the work they're going to be working on here, I'll be checking up on at 11:30 to see whether they've done it or not. If they've not done any work between 9 and 10, I will see, because we're a G Suite college, we use Google tools, and I can see the revision history of anything they've been working on. I can see what everyone has been working on because they've commented on it on the right-hand side here, and I can check the revision history of each of these particular pieces of work they say they are working on. So I trust these guys, hence why we are doing this test with these guys. So any other questions from anybody at all on the right-hand side here? Zara will go through film studies shortly, and I'll explain what it is you need to be working on alongside Ross. The rest of you, any other questions at all? Anything you need assistance with? Links to, pointers of? Feel free to ask any questions. Nope. Okay. Just make sure the register is up to date, then I'll be with you shortly. Hello. Hi, George. There he is. Hi, Peter. I'm on YouTube Live for full disclosure. Hello, you alright? Half the group are at home, half of them are here. Registers. I'm trying to get into your register to do the 9 till 10. Can't seem to access it. What did I do last week? What did we do last week? Did I do it, or did you do it after the fact?
Do you want me to just sign in and see what happens?
Be very kind if you could. Thank you. Ollie, film studies mainly, how long will it go on for? And what other things are we doing after the current task? Right, so this is Jin. Hey, there's Juju. Hello. Yo. Ollie, answer your question first. Film studies mainly, so the film production piece, which you can do in any particular format. It could be a vlog, could be a podcast, could be using Book Creator, could be using Adobe Spark Post, don't mind, video case study, essay, whatever you want. Once you've done the film production piece, we're then going to do the very last assignments that you'll be doing here as a student, which is the film TV piece, where you're looking at the marketing and advertising of a new film. So Deadpool 2, for example, is a great example of a case study to look into, because the marketing for that is incredible at the moment. Yesterday, the Celine Dion music video is another example of really innovative postmodern marketing techniques, which I think would be really, really good for you guys to look into. So to answer your question, Ollie, the next assignment after this, the last assignment, is the film TV piece, looking at marketing and advertising of film, cinema, film. So then we'll do some practical tasks as well to break things up, because you've got a lot of assignments. Right, Zhu, hello Zhu. What are you working on between 9 and 10? Please comment and let me know so I can make sure that you are working on it, and then check on it at 11:30 when you come into the physical lesson. All right, so let me know, Zhu. Set yourself a little objective for the first hour of this remote session. Thank you. Thank you, Peter. Much appreciated. Harvey. Okay, so you know, there you go. You are in. All registered in, Ollie, so don't worry about that. So thank you, Peter. Much appreciated. Ollie, oh right, so we are very close to being done. Yeah, you are, mate. I mean, you got, what's the date today? I mean, we are 4th of May. So May half term, right? You've got May half term at the end of May, yeah. I believe. So hypothetically speaking, if all the work is handed in May half term, then you could potentially be done May half term. Of course, that's relatively unlikely to happen. So mid-June, typically, people start to finish historically year on year. So summer school, new students, new generation starts first week of July. So absolute, it doesn't go on beyond that because it can't, because new students start in the first week of July. Normally early June is when people complete, to be honest with you, in terms of resubmissions, in terms of revisiting previous assignments if it's deemed appropriate by the assessor. Yeah, that's typically what happens. So that's what, 7 weeks really? It's a generous estimate. Not long at all, mate. Let's have a look. Ollie, thank you, Ollie. Current task, yep. Doesn't mean we get to make some short films. Yeah, absolutely. I want to do that as much as possible. So anyone who's only making short films on the Friday in particular, we've got time, resources to do that. I'm happy to assist you with that, Ollie. Got plenty of people who want to be actors as well in childcare and health and social care courses that I've met recently. So definitely, mate. Absolutely. Short films as and when you want me to get you set up. Zhu is working on the genre podcast. KK, what does that mean? KK. Cool. Okay. Ollie, that's Andrew's comment. What's she saying? It was these 3 stars. Ollie, star. Haha, says Zhu. I'm out of sync with you, Zhu. And then you got like the emoji with winking and the tongue out. Okay.
You see that spelling correct?
Maybe. Very close now. Yes, you are, Ollie. You look snazzy today, Mr. Hayden. Don't I just, Zhu? Don't I just? Thank you. Someone's noticed. Haha, says Zhu. We're out of sync now. I won't do a lol. I won't write my first ever lol. I only did my first emoji like 2 months ago, and I regret that, to be honest with you. I don't know. Just it's a pretentious sort of academic in me going, language should be meaningful. Well, it evolves. It evolves. Of course, it does. Sorry.
I use gifts to sleep vlog on Snapchat.
That's what we need, really.
It'll be like in like 20 years' time, they're like teaching them emojis.
But it's a legitimate form of communication. I understand that. I'm 35, you know. I've got to keep up. I've got to keep up, though. That's why we're doing this right now, this live stream. So all you guys remotely working, don't start bad habits, says Ollie. Okay, mate, maybe I shouldn't start using emojis then. It's all right to use emojis and GIFs and things like that to supplement your wonderful vocabulary, not in lieu of a great vocabulary, though. Okay. Right, so I can see what you guys are working on now. Let's go through. Zara, are you there? I'm about to talk through the film studies assignments. So Zara, if you are there still, please let me know so I can sit next to Ross and we can go through the assignments for film studies that you guys missed out on last week because you went to the university fair, of course, didn't you? Zara's here. Thank you, Zara, for your patience. Lovely. Okay. So Ross, you might want to scoot forward, man. I'm going to go through it on the screen here. Unfortunately, I can't screen share on my Chromebook like I wanted to. I'm going to get OBS set up so I can do that in future, but for now, I can go through it on the screen. Or I can verbalize it, I suppose, and then I can go through the actual slides with you a bit later on. It's probably the best thing to do. Okay. So the classroom we're going to go into
is that the film production piece?
That's
So
right,
I've
mate.
briefly gone over the brief.
Wonderful.
I went over it this morning when I came in.
Okay, so the film production piece, I'm going to share the YouTube walkthrough as well in the group chat, so people who are unfamiliar with what I'm talking about can get a reiteration of what it is that we're going to be talking through right now. So for the next 5-10 minutes, OBS is good, says Ollie. Lovely. Good, I hear it's the best way to bring together everything that I need for these sort of live stream lessons. So I've linked the YouTube walkthrough to you guys in the chat there. I'm also going to sort of talk through it now with Ross and Zara. So the actual piece itself, I'm going to link you to the assignment as well, Zara, just so you can see it there in the feed. I use it myself, says Ollie. Well, if Ollie Williams uses it, it can't be going far wrong, eh? Okay, so let's have a look. So in terms of the assignment itself, so I'll go through it with you now. When Zara's in later on today, we'll go through the actual presentation together as well. But the production piece, assignment brief, you probably had a little look at it as well. But Exit 6 are going to be sort of sponsoring this. So that's starting again this summer, and thereafter people with work experience to either sort of be there to sort of help on the day, to make behind-the-scenes documentaries, run social media. So they are looking at this work. You can submit it as in any way you want. I don't mind whatsoever. All that matters is that you include the following ingredients. So you talk about different production contexts. So production context is where something is made, the time and place it was made. So if a film is made in a developing country where there's very little in terms of economic prosperity and resources, the films they make have to count like a message in a bottle to the rest of the world. So they can't make wherever they want. Normally it's like a quite ideological, quite political, quite based on the social issues that Iran or wherever the country is encountering. A film that's made in Hollywood is a different context. A film that's made in Great Britain, again, different again. So these different contexts are likely to produce different films. So you tell me and give me an example of a film in each context, essentially. So an international co-production, you got any idea what that could be?
Is that because like 2 different countries or something take part within the one movie, I'm guessing?
Really good, absolutely that. So typically, countries struggle to find funding. Even like in the UK, it's hardly a film industry at the moment in the UK because we have to buddy up with other people to cobble together the funds to get a film made. So films like Under the Skin, the Scarlett Johansson film that I go on about in class quite a lot. That's an example of a film that's got financing from about 2 or 3 other countries, even though it's a British film, some say. So many films like Hot Fuzz had French funding as well as UK funding as well as American funding. Most films, smaller budgets, are international co-productions, it's fair to say. They're independent films, so smaller or more alternative indie sort of product. I need a film from each context and telling me about that context and telling me in particular how that context shapes the sort of film that it is. Once you've done that, you then need to look at 2 films from 2 different decades. And I think you guys did that in blended learning quite a while back, where you thought about
like
it.
The films that were like, we don't almost like one was made like back in like past or in like the 90s, and then another one had been made like very recently.
Yeah, ideally a big gap between them as well. So for the second part of the assignment, you need to take 2 films from 2 different decades and explain how those films were made and how they were shaped by these different variables. So finances, how much budget did the films have in each decade? Technologies in terms of, was it 16mm film? Was it digital? Was it shot on iPhones? What technologies were used? Distribution and exhibition. So distribution is getting the film out to an audience. Was it via Netflix originals? Was it in cinemas only? Was it on Betamax or VHS? How was it distributed to an audience? And how was it exhibited? How was it shown to them? What was trending in the industry at the time? So, for example, in this late 60s, 70s, there was a lot of sci-fi movies because we were literally going to the moon as a culture and we were thinking about these things, the great beyond. So sci-fi boomed. In times of war, Westerns are quite popular in America because they were working out those anxieties on the screen in terms of the good guys and the bad guys, I suppose, and those myths about archetypical Americanism and what it is and what it stands for. What genres were popular at the time your films were made? Stars, power, and representation. So what stars were popular at the time? Are there any stars in your films and what do they represent? So, for example, who are the big stars right now? Who are the big stars? So we discussed that a little bit in the lesson last week. And why are they stars right now? We looked at some, on the president we went through, we looked at stars throughout the ages. And someone like Seth Rogen being a star now, that's like, he would never have been a star in the 40s or 50s. So it was more the clean-cut, archetypical, good-looking dude.
Yeah.
But we sort of favour the sort of schlubby, everyday sort of fella now, which is quite interesting. It says an awful lot about where we are culturally. So in terms of big stars, who can you think of? Who springs to mind? Like big female, male stars?
It depends on like, well,
in the comments, by the way, feel free to state who you think are the big stars right now. Hello, Ross, says Ollie. Who are the big stars right now in film?
For female, Jennifer Lawrence.
Yeah.
She's in a lot of stuff at the moment.
So why Jennifer Lawrence then? Why is she a big
she's a
star?
Well, she's a strong female lead in every film she's been in. She tends to be the lead character.
Her as a star, I mean, not as a movie star and actor, are arguably two different things, I suppose. But why Jennifer Lawrence? What is it about her? As a person, as a persona, as a way she comes across. Why have we chosen her culturally?
She's quite political.
Quite political.
Yeah, because there's a campaign she's doing at the moment. She's known by multiple different age groups as well. So it's not just like she doesn't put herself into one genre as well. She was in Silver Linings,
yes.
The Hunger Games, most recently Red Sparrow.
Yes, it's quite a diverse sort of portfolio of work. And that Mother recently, which Zara will tell you, is quite sort of shocking.
Also in the event, X-Men.
Yes,
she was Raven.
Of course, she can do the sort of more artistic, independent fare like Mother and Silver Linings Playbook. But she's also, but think about her in terms of interviews, in terms of her persona online, in terms of the way that how does she come across? Do you think her fan base?
Sure.
How were you guys in the thread there? What do you think about Jennifer Lawrence as a figure, as a pop culture sort of figure? Why is she the person that we've chosen culturally as to be one of the biggest stars we have right now? Move over here because we've got no light over. So The Rock is mentioned here. So The Rock is a good shout because we were talking about last week about how he's quite sort of ironic, quite sort of postmodern, quite playful, quite silly, quite self-aware, but also, you know, charming as hell and full of charisma. So in terms of someone who's very self-aware and self-deprecating and ironic, I mean, in our times where we live in an age of memes and ironic commentary, he sort of makes sense to be a star. Yeah. And he's a mixed race, charming dude. So he's sort of very much a 2018 sort of star. Ollie, Hunger Games being success helped her career a lot. Certainly it did.
I got her out there more because she wasn't in little films before. Like
she was
before Hunger Games. I didn't realise she was in X-Men.
Yeah.
Because I didn't think she was so big because she was like they never had her with a normal face. They had her covered in blue.
Yeah.
Most of it, and it was all more other people.
Mystique, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she was also in Winter's Bone as well, a little independent film which broke her sort of internationally. It's a real fascinating performance. Yeah.
With strong female, people would also say Emma Watson because of she wasn't in Harry Potter, but then there was Beauty and the Beast, which
made over $1 billion, by the way, at the box office. Yeah.
Then outside of films, she's done many feminist campaigns.
Do you think that helps her in terms of becoming a popular star? Because you're right, Emma Watson is someone with enormous box office clout. Not clout, not clute. And it means in terms of power. So it means, and I think culturally, she's tapped into a moment, hasn't she, in terms of this Me Too campaign, as has Jennifer Lawrence. I mean, think about what happened to her with the whole fappening thing. This is someone who represents this rising sort of swathe of feminism and representing empowered femininity.
I think Jennifer has taken time out of filming now because of...
Has she?
Yeah, there's something I mentioned a while ago because of campaigns and stuff.
She's doing like politics stuff.
Yeah, something with politics is why she's taken time out of
politics.
Red Sparrow to last one for a while.
Is it really? Okay. Zara says there, she's the girl next door, the girl that seems normal and rose to fame, which is part of her appeal, surely. I mean, the idea that anybody could be her. The idea we live in a constant age consumed by reality TV, where anybody could be famous. We could all be that person who gets those followers, likes, attention. Jennifer Lawrence is someone who could be your mate who's actually made it, and something appealing about that potentially. Kieran, I don't think I've ever seen Jennifer in a happy role. Now, why is that, Kieran? That's interesting, but that's a trope, isn't it? The miserable sort of beauty. It's like a European cinema trope, you might say. The idea of the manic pixie dream girl who's perpetually a little bit moody and unsatisfied.
That's
and it's
more popular recently, because then there was Kristen Stewart in Twilight.
That's a good point.
Because she never smiled.
That's a good point. But genuinely, those films were culturally enormous.
They had a big impact on a lot of people.
So in terms of star power, then, that's another point. You need to compare and contrast between your two films from 2 different decades. Social issues at the time of the production of the 2 films as well, Zara. So socially right now, what's happening culturally right now? What will people say about this decade in 50 years' time? What happened? I mean, we could say about the Me Too movement. We can talk about Trump. We can talk about the age of the woke, overly sensitive millennials, maybe. We could talk about maybe Syria will be something we're talking about. Maybe it will be a time of distrust of politics and politics breaking down completely. Maybe that's what we'll be remembered for, this generation. The rise of the alt-right. I don't know. Culturally, are films showing that right now? Are they tapping into that? If they are, then say so in this report. You need to show me culturally what was happening in films, in the film you chose for the earlier decade example and the more contemporary example. What was happening in terms of social issues and the culture and the politics as well? What was happening? That's important because that often informs the sort of art that's created within it. Regulatory issues in terms of certificates. I mean, what was 18 when I was a kid? It's probably a 12 now, in some instances, 12, 15.
Specific films like 50 Shades of Grey, in England it was 18, but in France it was either 12 or a 15.
So that's a cultural issue, isn't it? That's a good example.
They believe different. Well, an 18 is considered soft form, but it's more of it's still an 18 because of the nature of the film.
That's interesting. So yeah, more laissez-faire, laid back, calm attitude about sexuality on the screen in France as opposed to the States, whereby it's a little bit stricter, you might argue, although more lenient than ever. So in terms of regulatory issues, I'm looking at the BBFC in particular there, Zara. So in terms of the certificates of both of the films, the 2 films from 2 different decades, and BBFC site's really useful for this. It tells you literally what cuts were suggested, what alterations were made in order for it to get that certificate. Synergies between films. So we live in an age of increased sort of synergy between different forms of media. In the 2 films you choose, you need to think about how those films connect with other forms of media. A film comes out now and it isn't just a film. It's, think about Avengers. When that comes out, it's not literally, there's synergy between that and how many other films have there been.
Yeah.
Also, merchandise, spin-offs, social media, and so on. In terms of synergy, how has it changed between the decades of the 2 films that you've chosen? The nature and structure of the industry is the last thing you need to talk about for this assignment. Back when your first film was made and the second film as well. So here we talk about the Hollywood studio system, which in the 30s, 40s, tied stars, producers, directors to 7-year contracts. If you work for MGM or RKO or one of the other big 5, then you were tied to a 7-year contract. You had to work for them as part of a factory, like a machine tool style approach to pumping out product. But that oligopoly, it was called, OLI, similar to Ollie Williams, oligopoly, was broken up because it was seen to be unfair business because you couldn't have just 5 companies owning all of cinema. It was morally, ethically not good business, not fair, not American, I suppose. It was broken up after about 1945, I believe it was. So now anybody can make films. It isn't just the big 5 studios that can produce films in-house. Now, they were integrated vertically, so they could produce, distribute, and exhibit films all in one company. So you could produce an MGM film, distribute it to MGM cinemas and exhibit on their screens as well. So it all happened in one company. The same way vertical integration exists today would be with Apple products. You produce an Apple product, goes to the Apple stores, and it's purchased on the Apple sites as well, or on iTunes, for example. That's vertical integration. That's the way it was, vertical integration. It's been broken up because ethically it's unfair business. Now we have horizontal integration, where different companies work alongside each other and sort of outsource to each other to distribute and exhibit.
With like Beats and Apple, they tend to have like the exclusive things where it's like Apple or Beats have like the like red headphones that match like the red iPhone because it's like the product. I can't remember what it's called, but it's called a product something.
That's good. That's a good example. But I think is Beats owned by Apple now?
I'm not too sure, but I know they have the.
Is Beats owned by Apple? I'm pretty sure it is now. So that would arguably be vertical integration, actually. So in that example, let's just say that you've got Apple producing the Beats headphones and then putting it in a music video and an album that's available on iTunes to buy. That's sort of vertical integration, really, because we're in one company, I suppose. Trump and Tory austerity that Zara mentions here in relation to culture and politics right now. So are we going to see films, Zara, that tap into that culturally, politically, socially, that echo our times? I reckon we're starting to see some already, in fact. If you can name any, that would be really good. Okay, partnered, I think Ollie's saying there in relation to Beats and Apple. But in their documentary, the Defiance ones, the Dr. Dre documentary, which is really good on Netflix, by the way, I think he got bought up, to be honest with you. I'm not too sure the legalese, as it were. But yeah, certainly they work together. Horizontal integration would be when you work with other companies in a sideways manner. Right. So in conclusion then, Zara, for the film production piece assignment, you need to tell me about different production contexts. So a film from each of these contexts here and how the context sort of shapes the sort of film it is. And then the second part of the assignment is for you to take two films from two different decades and to compare.
It's either written or a podcast, isn't it?
Be however you want. Okay. I don't mind however you want to do this. Book creators are a really cool tool you could use for this. Could be a blog, could be a vlog like I'm doing right now, could be a podcast, could be a case study. I don't mind how you do it, Zara. It's up to you entirely. Hence the title, film production piece. Do it however you want. Essay is perfectly fine as well, because I know you like to write. So the final piece will be due in the 11th of May, not long at all.
A week, essentially. So we need to get on this. So 11:30, I'll see you here, Zara, and we'll go through it a bit more in detail then. All right? Okay. Stay here. Go. Up to you entirely. All right? Right. Any other questions from the rest of you? Any other questions at all? 38 minutes we've been going for. So when this gets to about 60 minutes, we'll stop the live stream and you guys need to make your way into college for the actual physical lesson. All right? So thank you, Ross. Okay, so any other questions at all relating to your assignments? Is this working, by the way? It's a test. You tell me, students, is this useful, do you think, to have some sessions done remotely like this? Because I think it could be quite useful for certain parts of the course. As long as you show me evidence of what you've done in terms of progress, then I'm happy to do this quite a bit, to be honest with you. Is it useful? You having lessons live streamed like this for you to ask questions? Would it be better if I had a microphone, perhaps? Let me see if I've got a microphone. Originally, I was going to go home to chill out, but caught me today. We were meant to be doing something, so.
Good. That's all right. Whatever works. I understand. Actually, I think it. I think that's what I do as well. Actually. Cool. I'll go over in a second. Have a little look through it together. All right. Kieran, I wouldn't even have been able to get in this morning, so this is a massive help to Kieran. Thank you, mate. That's good to hear. Hope everything's all right. Ollie, not on the top of my head, off the top of my head, I think you mean there, mate. But we'll get myself ready now, I suppose.
I reckon this is useful. I have a more direct way of understanding this because it feels like having a one-to-one with questions answered. I'm really happy to hear that, mate. Harvey, yeah, it's all right. Yep. Though I'd rather do the normal lecturers in person with a prezi like last week. I prefer this for the workshops, though. That's what I'm thinking, Harvey. I don't want to stop lecturing and doing delivery and, you know, one-to-ones and mentoring, Q&A, activities, games in the actual lectures ever. I want to do more of that, in fact. But there are parts of lessons and in education whereby it can be done remotely, and it can be done using these tools. So this is a test, because there are times in lessons where you guys all get your headphones on, you're working on your assignments, and I'm a bit of a third wheel, really. I haven't really got too much to do or contribute because you're so in the zone. And this way it gives you a chance to actually ask me questions as and when it suits you. So I'm really glad to get this feedback. This is really useful, and it'll be showed to my boss as a way of me justifying how different teachers at different times could use this as a way to connect with their students remotely, to enhance their experience, and to be available to answer any one-to-one questions or group-based questions as well. What's also nice about this is, as we're a Google college, we all get these tools built into our accounts, and the video saves to YouTube afterwards with the live chat replay as well, which is quite good for revision purposes. Ollie, I've got to agree with Harvey on that one. A workshop like this is much better. For some people, it might be. That's perfectly fine. I think from now until the end of the academic year, from 9 until 10 for the morning sessions, I'm happy for you guys to work remotely, and we will do chats like this to stay in touch with each other. You'll be coming in for the physical lesson at 11:30. All right. Ollie, our normal prezi lessons as well. Yeah, we'll do lectures as well and activities and games. I want to do some more practical bits with you guys as well once the 11th of May has passed. But I want, hello, it is the future, Zhu. You're absolutely right. I want us to have sessions like this as well, as and when it's appropriate. Okay, cool. Okay. Any other questions at all? How are you getting on with your assignments? Do you hit any roadblocks at all? Anything that's difficult or a little bit frustrating or unclear? If you could just comment, that would be really useful. Again, this really helps me to sort of build an argument to my bosses to actually explain how this is a useful tool, not just for media either. Any subject could use this, I think. Any questions? I suppose for a lot of teachers, it's the fear of being on camera. But then again, we're looked at all day long when we're teaching. So it's a little thing we have to get over. You guys have grown up in a world where you've got forward-facing cameras and you're constantly having a look at yourself and taking pictures of yourself. Some of you with your tops off. You know who you are. But my generation, I'm 35, and people older than me haven't grown up with that, and I suppose we aren't as used to appearing on camera and speaking in this way, which is quite unusual. So we are more reluctant to embrace it, perhaps, but it's not about us, it's about you. It's about what you're going to be doing in 5-10 years from now in industry. And most people are going to be having video calls, going to be using media in these ways to communicate and connect and to collaborate and create. So that's why we do this. It's why we use these tools. Hey, ICT lecturer. Hi, Scott. It's Isam from City of Westminster College. Hello, mate. We're doing the same things with Maths GCSE using Teams. Just started last week. Fantastic. Good to see you, mate. So do you screen record the actual... Do you screen record the actual workshops as well, do you, Isam? Ollie, just to answer your question before, FMP is coming along well, filming final scenes next Tuesday. So if we complete work, can we get next assignments early? I think so, Ollie. I think that's a good idea, in fact. I'm happy to do that. So I will speak to my line manager just to make sure that I can do that, because I want to make sure I'm not contravening any sort of assessment standards by doing that. I'm sure it'll be fine, though. But I need to investigate and find out for certain, Ollie. But yeah, good point. If you finish an assignment early, can you get the next one as you're at the end of the course a little bit earlier and finish earlier? I'll speak to my boss and find out. Go back to Isam. Thanks. No, live you do it. Okay, you record it live. It doesn't capture it for Prosperity then. Not just yet. We are waiting for cloud recording for Teams. Looked at Microsoft Teams recently. It's quite interesting. As you know, we're a Google college here, and we use Google Classroom and G Suite and YouTube Live now as well. And that's working well for us. I'm agnostic though as to what the best tools are, and Microsoft Teams does look quite useful and quite robust, but I think we're going to stay with G Suite for now. But there's no harm in having both, and I want to trial Microsoft Teams a bit more. In fact, if you can add me to one of your teams as a little test, I'd love to have a little play with it and see what you're up to. And likewise, I'm happy to share anything I'm doing with yourself. Nice one, really good platform, you say. Cool. Yeah, I'm really keen to have a play with that. Hannah Mateus at Cardiff and City Vale College, I believe they're called. Sorry if I got that wrong, Hannah. She's invited me to one, and yeah, it's useful because it integrates chats, file sharing all in one space. But then again, Hangout Chat, which is a new tool, a Slack, Microsoft Teams equivalent, has recently come out that does a very similar thing. So all that matters is that these new tools that are coming out are great for educators because we get an awful lot of cool things to play with. Lovely. Good to hear from you, mate. I hope all is well. What are you up to today at the City of Westminster College? Are you teaching today, are you? Got another 10 minutes or so left of the stream, second year media students. Just to reiterate for anybody who's just joined us, we are doing a test today on YouTube Live. I've told our second year media students that they can either work remotely for this workshop session, or they can come in and use the resources we have here to actually work on their assignments. I've got 2 assignments at the moment, a podcast one and another assignment whereby they can choose any form of media to gather their evidence. Competition is healthy, says Issam. Yes, I agree, mate. I think it's making Microsoft and Google better, in fact, because they're watching each other, like Samsung and Apple, really, and they're sort of nicking from each other, remixing into their own different approaches, and yeah, we're getting good products to play with. As educators, we get it all for free as well, which is really wonderful. So I'm a Google guy, I suppose, but I'm agnostic. Whatever the best tool is, what I'm going to use. Okay. Ollie is going to be heading off now. Perfectly fine, mate. I'll see you at 11:30. I suppose 10 minutes won't do much harm. Don't know what you mean by that, mate. So you mean getting on the training time? That's great. I'll see you in a bit. Okay, at 11:30 the lesson starts here. You're having meetings outside of the college, Issam. Okay, yeah, I'm doing quite a bit of that as well at the moment. I'm maybe doing too much of that, to be honest with you. I'm trying to, at the end of the year, I teach Monday and Friday. So I'm really keen to make sure that for the next month or a month and a half, I'm available for the students, because it's difficult to juggle being a manager 0.6 of the time and a teacher 0.4 of the time. So I'm making sure that I am available for my students as they get over the finishing line, really, because I'm a bit concerned and about dealing them with disservice by being out of the college too much. I know you teach as well, and I know you find that probably difficult as well. So yeah, I'm really conscious of that. So I'm trying to be here as much as possible, trying to streamline the amount of time I'm outside the college as well. Gearing up for an event in July that we would love for me to attend. I'd love to come along, mate. Yeah, and see Jackie and your wonderful team. And Julie, who connected with me on LinkedIn today, I think. Good to see you guys again. Yeah, it'd be really cool to do that. Yeah, please, if you can email me an invitation, that would be fantastic. I'd love to come along and help you guys do anything and set up some collaborations as well. Let's do more of that. Pete, I think, will be sending an email. Wonderful. I'll send an invite later for Teams. Let's collaborate on it and invite other colleges. Wonderful. I'm doing quite a few other things with Google bits and bobs. And Microsoft, as I say, I'm keen for a long time. Google was, storming ahead. Microsoft are very much catching up, and neck and neck, some might argue as well. So even though I'm Google certified and I do bits for them, I am keen just to whatever's best for the students, really. And in industry, they're going to be using Google and Microsoft 5-10 years from now, aren't they? So they need to use both. All right. Lovely. Yeah, anything you need, mate. Wonderful. Right, another 5 minutes or so. I think you guys, second year media students, you might need to start thinking about your travel arrangements for getting into the actual physical lesson at 11:30. At 11:30, we'll see how you're getting on. I'll check on the work you've done in this remote workshop to see whether it has been worthwhile me doing it. So if you haven't done anything in the last hour or so, then I'll find out. And it will mean that this test might not have been as fruitful as I have planned it to be. So please come in and we will see how much you've done, and then we'll make a decision as to what we're going to do. I'm happy to do another lesson on film studies to prepare you for your final assignment, or to have an extended workshop, or to do practical tasks, whatever you feel is appropriate. You're all very busy with assignments at the moment, and I don't want to distract from that. So I'll be led by you, as always. Have a great day. Yep, you too, mate. See you later, Sam.
Scott,
Yes, George.
what's a good way to find out about who funds it now?
Box Office Mojo is good for finding out how a film was funded. Probably the best, actually. IMDb in the description box as well.
Like IMDb Pro or something.
Oh, really? Okay, that's changed. Box Office Mojo is quite good in terms of giving you a lot of information for free. Yeah, absolutely. Have a look at that. Okay, so using YouTube Live is something I want us to do a lot more of, connecting with guest speakers and other colleges to collaborate on activities as well. Kieran mentions Box Office Mojo doesn't have anything about Monty Python. Is it Life of Brian or Holy Grail you're looking into? Kieran, remind me. In terms of financial information about a film, if Box Office Mojo isn't working, IMDb is asking you to go pro. Holy Grail. Thank you, Kieran. What other alternatives can we find? Okay, so I'm just going to do some research for you while I am in the last 5 minutes of this stream here. So movie budgets. Okay. Okay, so you might want to try Quora as well. So it's Quora in terms of asking a question, and it crowdsources the best answer. It's quite useful. So if it's a particular specific niche question, sometimes you can find joy on Quora. In terms of finding out about budgets, often it's relatively transparent on the actual production company's website as well. So Fox, MGM, whoever produced it will no doubt have information on the actual site in some instances. Not all instances, though. I appreciate that. In my experience, Box Office Mojo and IMDb have been sufficient, but I appreciate if you're struggling to find the Holy Grail's information as it was some years ago. Let's see what we can find together. So Holy Grail. So is it the budget in particular, Kieran, you're looking into finding out about? Now, Wikipedia is perfectly fine for the starting point of research, but what's really important to be conscious of is it's the citations, the little ones and little twos that actually link you to the source material and the actual origins of the quotes. Now, the Wikipedia article has an awful lot of links here relating to the budget and other bits, which I'll talk through with you when you come into the lesson at 11:30. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, what I've got as well is £229,575, Kieran. But in terms of any other information about the actual production, not too much I can see. But we will investigate and delve deep, and I'll show you some Google search tips as well to specialize your search and keep it very specific. Right, I'm going to close the stream now. I think it's been about an hour. Any other questions from any of you watching? We've got 5 people still watching. Any other questions at all from any of you? If not, feel free to leave the stream and to head into college, and I'll see you soon. Bye, Ju. See you soon. Thanks. Thank you, Kieran Byrne. Any other questions? Now's the time to ask. If not, ask me in person when I see you at 11:30. Okay. Bye.